Well, good evening everyone and welcome to League of Europe. We are here for round 7 of the championship as we take in the Canadian Grand Prix from the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as lead commentator, and joining me in the commentary box as always on a Saturday night, it is Mr. Daniel Field. Dan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, James. Good evening, everyone. Cannot wait for the Canadian Grand Prix. We're going to see a lot of penalties come out, I think, here. Very short track as well. But there are a lot of places where these guys can run off and get a warning.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, I think. Obviously, the invalidations on the laps, I think, is going to be something to watch in qualifying. We might see quite a close qualifying as well. Just to remind you on what happened last week, if you didn't tune in to the Baku Grand Prix, a hell of a race before you go into it. Alphatrix won, Montana second, and Schiaparelli getting his first point of the season and third. What an epic race that was, though.
Oh, we saw battles throughout the entire field, and then there was a gap of about 3/10, I believe, between Alphatrix and Montana right at the end. Alphatrix, of course, coming out on top of that one, making it 3 wins in a row. He's on his way for a 2002 Michael Schumacher championship at the moment. He's not finished lower than second position this season.
Can somebody break that record though here tonight, I wonder? It remains to be seen, of course. Going into the standings, and Alphatrix leads on 136 points, Montana second on 104, and D. Daniel now actually third on 38 points, all the way down there on 38 points, bless him. Verstappen in fourth on 37. It's essentially best of the rest, to be honest, with Toxic in fifth on 36. Campbell in sixth on 35, then Bolin in 8th on 32, Spine in 9th on 30, and Neo in 10th on 27. Droppier in 11th on 24 points. We've got a tie for 12th with Killer Blue and Just Asas on 21 points. Then in 14th is Larkin on 20 points, Josh in 15th on 18. Then Schiaparelli and Cohen picking up their first wins, the first result of the season, of course. Schiaparelli 16th and 17th. We're about to get into qualifying. I can hear the timer going on my controller, which indicates that we are just moments away from running through. And to go through the constructor standings quickly as well, for the top 5, Williams are leading on 157, Alfa Romeo in second on 131, AlphaTauri in third on 73 points, then Ferrari in fourth on 44, and Mercedes in fifth on 42 points. But it is now time we go into qualifying at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. You join us here for Division 1 action, and for the first time in a few weeks, we've got a full grid.
Oh yeah, considering that a lot of places, the lockdown regulations, of course, with the current situation, are actually being lifted just a little bit as things are starting to ease up. I think Campbell's just left the session. I've seen some name disappear, and I think his was one of them. But yeah, it's really good attendance.
Really good attendance. Obviously, the restrictions been released in some parts of Europe, not even the northeast of England, where we've had the lockdown restrictions reimposed due to the spread of coronavirus. Even though the rate has gone down here in Sunderland, we're second highest in the northeast and I think 16th in the country, which is not a great statistic to be on. And unfortunately for us, we're ahead of Newcastle as well, which is even worse. But we get into qualifying here, into the short term, and it looks like we're going to get movements, of course, coming out the garage. I think you did mention Campbell left the session. I was seeing before we joined into the session that Campbell was having a 2-bar, 1-bar, so maybe he's just gone to reset his internet. Hopefully he'll be back. There's an Alfa Romeo out first. Guess who it is? It's Montana.
He's won the race off of pit lane once again. I think we should start keeping points for that. Give him an extra bonus point for being the first one out on circuit. Maybe we'll see someone else other than Montana, but then that means he'll be the first one to give us a lap around here. Probably will be a pretty decent one considering his caliber so far this season.
Yeah, Montana obviously just finishing out the points in Spain. He had that disastrous race. He finished, I think, 17th in Spain. So really intriguing to find out if Montana can replicate his form from last week in Baku. Going to be really intriguing to see. We have got the drivers out on track. You join us, of course, for Division 1. My name is James Head. Dan Field alongside me in the commentary box. Do you prefer Dan or Daniel, by the way? Because I keep on mixing up between the two.
I don't mind whichever one. I like both of them, so it's fine, whatever one you prefer.
He likes both of them. Good. I don't want to call him, like, V6 field or anything like that I saw on your Twitter a few days ago. But Montana is about to start us off on a lap then of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And we have got, I think, 16 turns awaiting the drivers out on track tonight. I'll confirm that with the track map in just a second. But Montana down towards turn 1, and then through turn 2. Very tight and technical circuit this, as we see Montana now coming through turn 2. There is a car just ahead of him out on track. That is a Red Bull, I think, possibly of Cookie Games on an outlap. And Montana now through turns 3 and 4. Oh, really lighting up the rears through there. Yellow flags in sector 3, don't worry about them. 18.9 through the first sector for Montana as he now comes through turns 6 and 7. Out on track, very nice through there. Opens up the DRS, though, of course, 3 DRS zones out on track. One down the start finish straight, one down the back straight down in towards turns 9 and 10, and then down the straight down towards the circuit, the Wall of Champion chicane, I should say. Montana through the middle sector, 40.2, and he's got Baki in the way! Baki in the way of him! Just completely blocking the track. Montana is not going to be happy with that. What a way to ruin a lap.
Baki was just not paying enough. I don't think there was anything intentional about that one there. Looks like he's weaving just to say sorry to Montana. But yeah, that's just not the standard that you can have around here. So he probably gets sent to the stewards for that one.
Montana has just blocked Baki and Toxic as well. So that might be investigated by the stewards. A little bit of payback there, guaranteed, but there were other drivers within the way out on track. I'm not sure who actually might be the one of the first across the line. Alphatrix across the line, he goes, well, he doesn't set a lap time as a 1:10 flat. Killer Blue with a 1:08.1, quickest of the session so far. Cohen goes second, just trying to pick up with anybody that's on a final, that's in the final sector, but there's not many people that are actually on a lap. Kuki Games coming down towards the final corner. The Slovenians obviously celebrating 1-2 in the Tour de France earlier on. And Kuki Games now around the final corner. Very quick through there. Could go ahead of Killer Blue on this time. Comes to the line now. Goes third. 1:08.4. Nice lap there by Kuki Games.
Yeah, the way that he took that final chicane was really satisfying to watch. That is probably going to be one of the quickest we'll see through there. We've got some more drivers coming towards the end of that lap. I believe there's a car just ahead of Justice that's still on board with right now. Sorry, he's just starting his lap. I believe Gary's just crossed the line. He goes third fastest on his second run, from what I remember. And then also crossing the line was QBR Verstappen going sixth fastest. So they are beginning to put in some laps after that initial drama. But they are getting underway very soon.
Yeah, Baki going there in fourth position. I'm sure there'll be words within the stewards. Montana is bound to report that, I think. We caught it clear on the stream as well. But Gary goes third, 1:08.4. Baki fourth. Kuki Games in fifth. 500ths of a second separating those guys out on track. I did mention, I think you're on board with just ASAS coming through the middle sector. We'll come on board with him in just a second. Rocco now around the final corner. Let's see what he can do. He actually has invalidated on this lap as Campbell rejoined the session and has gone second with a 1:08.2. Only 400ths of a second off Killer Blue, but we're already seeing quite a close qualifying session so far, but plenty of invalidations as well.
Absolutely, I think it's worth mentioning that Baki's also got a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Toxic. You see Toxic out the session, so I think in all of that drama where Montana ended up blocking Baki at the final chicane, I think Toxic just came out of nowhere. He wasn't expecting them to go so slow at where you really should be accelerating. He paid the price for that, and Baki got a penalty on top of it, so not going to be a good day for the stewards. I think they've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, they have got their work cut out for them, which is unfortunate, but the stewards are there for a paid job, and hopefully they will get the decisions right. We're back on board with Montana. He is finally on a lap, and hopefully he's going to be scot-free of anybody that's parked on the racing line. 18.9 through the first sector, very similar to what we saw on his opening lap, which was not to be, of course, with Baki blocking him. But now Montana comes down towards the chicane at turns 9 and 10. And looking good so far, Montana coming through here. Through the middle sector, really gets lively on the rear tyres once again. 40.3, it's only a tenth off what he was on his lap before he got blocked by Baki at this point of the circuit, as now Montana comes down. Not sure if we had another rejoin of the session there, or if somebody left, because my graphics just flickered for a brief second, but Montana now running down towards the final corner. Just ASOS has gone quickest. Montana though would be looking to go ahead of the Lithuanian. Oh, he was on the limit through there, too much on the limit, coming through the Wall of Champion chicane. He would have gone quickest with a 1:07.7 as well. So Montana would have gone quickest, but just ASAS remains there for now.
He'd be kicking himself with that one. All he had to do was just get around the final corner. Chapelele was just finishing a lap, but he might have validated the run there. Sorry, it was a bit delayed for me. He's gone fourth fastest. I have no clue what happened there.
Yeah, I think we saw somebody rejoin the session, I think, and it might have caused a little bit of a glitch with the timings there for about 5 or 10 seconds. But Chapelele did definitely go fourth. It was a good lap, actually, from Chapelele. I caught the end of it. And the German going fourth, and clearly he's on song once again from his third place in Baku last week.
Yeah, Lucas is a driver that I know really well. We're good friends, and he is known for his bottles, so it's good to see him getting in a nice position at the moment, fourth fastest, and looking to build on the momentum that he had last week. There seems to be a traffic jam going down at the hairpin. Hopefully no one is going to get in the way of each other, and hopefully they all back off adequately so that they can all start their laps cleanly.
Yeah, D. Daniel just in front of that train, actually. He's about to come across the line now. Goes quickest. D. Daniel responds, goes quickest. I think we've got Spine coming through across the line as well, and he goes quickest. So, just in the blinking of an eye, we basically see what happened in the Tour de France earlier on. D. Daniel went quickest, but Spine betters him by 0.2 of a second. So, Spine on top, D. Daniel in second. And the Alfa Romeo man looking pretty much on point so far in qualifying.
Yeah, Spine's actually been a really quick driver so far this season. He's been bringing up the rear in that Alfa Romeo car, of course, his teammate in the championship hunt. He's been getting some decent points lately. From what I remember, he was really quick in Spain and ended up on the podium at least. Watching Suku on his lap, he's shuffled through a second sector. I don't know if that's a glitch or whatever with the game, because I know that does do that a lot, but he's looking on a clean run actually. Just coming up the back straightaway here, coming towards the final chicane. We've got some more drivers crossing the line, but I think Suku is the one that I'd want to watch here, because he looks like he's on a really clean lap in the Ferrari car across the line. He goes quickest with a 107.7, the second driver to dip into that 67 second mark.
Yeah, I was just watching Gary actually on his lap before I cut to Suku. Suku going then quickest ahead of Spine. Verstappen, I think, has just gone fourth as well with a 108 flat. Very tight in qualifying, a second separating the 13 drivers that have set a time. But our championship leader is on a lap as well, Alphatrix. It looks like he's running no ERS actually, so he might have just tried to back this one off and try and get a lap in. But very interesting nonetheless. 41.4 through the middle. He's going to be a lot quicker than that when he gets onto his proper lap, I think.
Right now, Larkin's getting a tow from his teammate here on the back straightaway. This is going to give him a whole hell of a lot of time. There's now Waluigi backs off there, giving Larkin the run into the chicane. I think this would be a nice time from the Racing Point car. He wasn't here last week, and now crossing the line. Only ninth fastest for Larkin, unfortunately, but with that really nice tow, it definitely did bring him into the fray a little bit.
Yeah, 108.2. I mean, he's only, what, 0.008 of a second off Chapelele. So that is not a bad lap time at all. And obviously, as the track evolves, these times will get a lot quicker. I think Joom is on a lap as well. Joom, of course, replacing Dakar, who is on holiday. Hopefully, Dakar is watching along in wherever he is in holiday. I think he might be in Scotland, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere in Scotland, anyways. But Joom on a lap. He's invalidated on this one, and there was a little bit of a wager going on in the Discord. If you saw earlier on, Joom and Toxic were having a bit of a conversation about who will get the most warnings out on track, and it seems like Joom is currently winning that because Toxic's obviously out the session.
Well, that might have been actually strategically planned by Toxic to run into the back of the Red Bull car earlier on, so he would win their bet. Or lose it, I guess. And as with the Racing Point cars, Larkin is giving the same tow to Waluigi that he gave the lap previously. This is a great teamwork from the Racing Point cars, of course. Very high up positions in LOE, very respected members as well. So, looking like really good teamwork from them too. Waluigi crossed the line, third, 15th fastest, 108.7. It's not a million miles off of everyone else, to be fair.
Yeah, not a million miles off. He's quicker than Alphatrix currently. Chapelele goes quickest. 107.6. Montana, though, through the final corner. Really on the limit. He could beat Chapelele here. Across the line he goes. 107.5. 1.5 tenths a second ahead of Chapelele. And Montana now on top in the session. That's more like it.
Yeah, now we're starting to see the pace the time's rapidly coming down. We've seen about 3/10 quicker laps than the previous runs. Alphatrix has again invalidated. I think he's actually on an in lap because he's got the blinking red fuel light. So he's got 6 minutes to put in a lap, well, in a better lap than a 1:10. So he's definitely got an opportunity. He's not out yet.
Yeah, Alphatrix, I think, is going to leave it quite late in qualifying. I think we saw actually in Baku last week, he left it quite late in qualifying with him and Montana vying for that top spot. And they ended up being, 2-3 tenths of a second ahead of anyone else. So it was really impressive by both of those drivers to really get a good lap in. I think we've got Neo on a lap through the middle sector. Let's have a look at the Renault man, who was proving quite a lot actually in pre-season. 1, 2 out of the 3 pre-season races that we covered on the channel. And Neo, I'm not going to be too conservative at all. He drove a very good race in TTML Division 1 earlier on this week. 4 tenths up now in the middle sector. Can he find his old form from pre-season, though, with this lap? Oh, no, he can't. No, he can't. I've just commentator's cursed him, haven't I?
Yeah. Oh, he was 4 tenths off as well.
And there was Rocco to the right-hand side. I think Rocco might have been trying to give him a bit of a tow as well down the straight, but Neo, unfortunately and reluctantly, has to come into the pit lane. He would have improved on that lap if he didn't spin. And a James Head commentator's curse. If you're playing along with that game tonight, you can now take a shot of your drink.
I'll have a little sip of mine then. Why not?
Suku in the first sector, 700s up. Oh, and he's gone completely straight on across the curve. It's still a valid lap, though. How's that? Huh? He cuts across the chicane, and it's still a valid lap. He went within the limits, but it's still a valid lap, apparently. That's a glitch.
What happened there? He lost about one second or something through the middle sector. So I have no clue what happened to him there, but I think he's given a tow to the Red Bull of Baki right now. And yeah, he's given a really nice slipstream to the pole. So now, through the final corner, of course he might be in a bit of hot water, but he can't worry about that right now. 8th, 9th fastest for the Red Bull car. They've locked out no, they haven't locked out any roads, but they are 8th and 9th.
300th of a second separating the teammates as well. Kuki Games was down on his lap time, but with 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go, Montana on top, Schiaparelli second, and Daniel in third. Most of the guys I think out on track are not on a lap. Killer Blue's going to come back into the pit lane. Gary is not on a lap time either. Who's the first one to come across the line? I think it's Spine that's going to be the first one to come across the line to set a proper lap time, and he's going to have to try and hurry up here because obviously he'll try and get this lap time in, but has he got enough time by the end of this lap and an out lap? He's got to lay it on the line on this one, surely.
Yeah, he's really got to just push. I don't think he'll do this lap, then have an in lap, and then get back out in time.
That's a quick first sector. He's nearly 2 tenths up through the first sector, very close to the wall on the exit of turn 7. But now Spine up the hill, up towards the chicane of turns 8, and no, and I'm losing the will to live, honestly. Spine now coming through the middle sector. Let's see what this time's going to be through the middle. Oh, and he's sub 40 through the middle sector. This is a flying lap from Spine. If you can really put this together, this could be a 107.2 or something like that. If you can get the chicane right, this is on for a flying lap from Spine. Let's see what he can do as he now comes down the straight towards the wall of Champion Chicane, coming through turns 13 and 14, brake just before the 50-metre board. Beautiful on the apex. He's going to be quicker surely after this lap. Spine coming to the line now, and he doesn't go quickest after all of that hype. He does not go quickest, and he's 700ths off Montana. And Montana is through the final corner. He's a 10th and a half down. He's invalidated as well. That might be his qualifying over and done with, and I think it is.
Yeah, so that really does leave Montana vulnerable here, since everyone else is going to be on the laps that's a lot more rubbered in. Of course, with the track evolution, the Montana set that lap quite a while ago when there were less tyres on the track, less rubber on the track, so less grip for him, and that will leave him vulnerable. I believe Daniel is the first driver to go on a lap from the final runs here. He's a bit down on his lap. He's got his Ferrari teammate ahead of him. He's going to give him a little bit of a tow down the straight. Montana's also getting out the way. And, yes, I don't know, it's not looking too good for Daniel right now, but we'll see what he does through the second sector. That slipstream probably would have helped him a little bit. What's the sector time going to be, though?
Let's have a look. 1900's down. Yeah, I think Montana just got in the way possibly of Suku. If there was clear track ahead, I think they would have got a beautiful tow and D. Daniel would have been up in that middle sector. But I'm sure he can find a lot of time in this final sector because he was a little bit hesitant on his last lap coming through here. He's only 2 tons off Montana, so let's see if he can improve as he comes now through the wall of Champion Chicane. That is how you take it, but he invalidates. Coming through the chicane, what would the time have been? 107.7, it wouldn't have been an improvement at all. Just trying to see if anybody else is on a lap. We've got Alphatrix on a lap. He's invalidated. So Alphatrix might be starting down in 17th position if he doesn't get a flying lap in.
Hey, what, though, he's got 40 seconds. Campbell. Jeez,
Campbell goes third. 6th improvement, 107.6. Good lap time from Campbell. So he came across the line there to go third. Chapelelli on a lap. We're trying to pick up on somebody. Just Asas is coming across the line to start his lap. Verstappen, 200s up in the middle sector. Let's see what the Dutchman can do, as he's got a car just ahead of him out on track, which is a McLaren. That, I think, might be Chapelelli, if I'm not mistaken. But now Verstappen coming down towards the final corner. Let's see if he can improve as he comes now down with only fractions of a second to go to the end of qualifying. Verstappen was clean through there. Now comes across the line. Does he improve? No. Oh, 7,000ths of a second, but doesn't improve his position.
I'm riding on board with Alphatrix right now. He was down in the first sector on his time, so I don't know what's going on with our championship leader here. And as I say that, he goes a second quicker, but that's not enough to put him anywhere on the grid. I think Baki ahead of him is really causing him some issues. Baki's on a lap. He does not have to get out of the way of Alphatrix, and this could really hamper his race and swing the championship, or just the championship fight, back in the favour of Montana. As he's just now going to come through the final couple of corners. Baki just ahead of him.
Oh,
I don't know.
Alphatrix to the line. It's not going to be quickest, I don't think. Across the line he comes. 14th from Alphatrix. Goodness me, it is like a role reversal from Spain. If you remember, Montana qualified all the way down in the bottom end of the field, and Alphatrix 14th. Out on track. Cohen is not on a lap. Verstappen, I think, is trying to improve his valiant best to try and improve as he now comes through the final corner. Really attacks that as he now comes round the final corner to the line. Verstappen runs out of fuel at the line and didn't improve, which is so unfortunate. I think he would have gone ahead of Cohen perhaps with that lap time, but Montana on top, Spine in second, a Swiss 1-2 for the Alfa Romeo team.
Absolutely, and if they can finish in that order, that will really bring them some good points in the constructors fight. Of course, they're fighting with the Williams team themselves, so they do have to work together as a team, get away from Campbell and Chapelelli and Daniel, who are all going to be charging at them, trying to get position and maybe get into the top of the grid. But we'll have to find out in the race. 700s between Montana and Spine. That is quite something, though.
It is quite something. It is really quite something, I think, out on track. And we'll have a tune in. If you want to view in for more action, by the way, Division 3 and Division 4 are also live. We're just waiting on Montana to retire in the session here. And he's just done that as well. Let's have a look at the comments section. June's saying if I am last behind the pack, it's harder to get penalties. Yeah, that might be... That might be wise strategy, but Montana on top by 69 thousandths of a second from Campbell, from Spine in second, Campbell in third, Chapelelli in fourth, with D. Daniel in fifth. Look at how close qualifying is. Suku in sixth, Rocco seventh, just Asas in eighth. Gary, Cohen, Kuki Games, Verstappen, Alphatrix all move up a position because of Baki's 5-second time penalty, so he's going to start in 14th. Killer Blue 15th, Larkin 16th, Neo 17th, Waluigi 18th, Toxic and Joom not getting a lap in, and it looks like it could be that battle, that £5 wager that they've got on between Toxic and June for the amount of warnings that they're going to pick up during the race.
Well, we'll be sure to look in on that at the end of the race, and maybe if there's a safety car, I'll have a little look at their warnings just to see who's going to get the most of them. Maybe if they want to get more, just sacrifice a little bit of time at the end. Who cares if it's a 3-second time penalty and you lose a podium? You're winning the warnings race.
Well, the warnings race can be won, of course. It can be won or lost around here at Canada. 36... is it 36 laps around here, if I'm not mistaken? Or am I just totally imagining that?
35, I think.
35. It's either
We didn't
35.
know with Baku.
Yeah, you didn't know with Baku. I didn't know with Canada. I'm always the same when we come here to Canada. I'm like, what on earth is the amount of laps that we do around here? I think it's 35 laps. You might have corrected me there. Toxic in the chat as well. Very angry, let's say, at what happened. We didn't catch Toxic's incident on stream, but I think he might have went into the back of Baki, if I'm not mistaken, which is why Montana obviously got blocked. And then Toxic, obviously, yeah, so unfortunate. And yeah, there's the confirmation. 35 laps await the drivers out on track. Let's see, obviously the top 10 qualifying on a set of soft compound of tyres. We've gone for a bit of a mix-up though, down in the bottom half of the field. Cookie Games and Baki on a set of softs, so the Red Bulls committed for a possible two-stop strategy. Medium runners of Verstappen, Alphatrix, Killer Blue, Larkin, Neo, Toxic and Doom. That might be the strategy to be on for those guys. But Waluigi, set of hards, can he make a one-stop go hards to softs?
Well, if you can't make the hard to soft work, you can definitely make the hard to mediums work. I think that is a viable strategy. I'm trying to think how long the hards can actually go into the race. Of course, the safety car can also help him because he won't have to come to the pits, stay out a little bit longer. But I actually have a spreadsheet here that I have track information for.
I think it might be like 21, 22 laps. I was thinking along the lines of maybe more.
It's not got the tyre information. Brilliant.
Oh, there's the pit stop strategy. Just came up on my screen. 2 stop softs to mediums, lap 8 to 12, lap 21 to 28 for a set of medium compound of tyres. But don't judge those graphics by the exact things because these drivers will decide for themselves. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see some of the guys pit in, what, lap 4, lap 5?
Yeah, that's probably. We will definitely see some people, I think.
As
Cohen is starting in 10th. Was he given a free choice of tyre because he qualified outside the top 10 and then back he dropped down? Or has he just opted for the softs?
No, I think Cohen's probably opted for the softs. Obviously, he would have been 11th, but 10th. I think he's on a free set of tyres, if I'm not mistaken, with him starting in 11th. But we are about to get going then for the Canadian Grand Prix. We were treated to a classic in 2011. Are we going to see scenes similar to that here tonight in League of Europe? The 5 red lights are already on. Goodness me, that was quick. And lights glitch, and lights out and away we go. But Gary had a jump start there, I think. We already see a bit of a terrible graphics glitch going on. But Montana leads through turn 1. Spine in second. Schiaparelli just in behind a Ferrari, which is D. Daniel fighting with a Mercedes, who I think is Campbell. And they go side by side. And actually, D. Daniel is through on Campbell. He is through and he's up into P3. Campbell P4. I think Suku's just behind these guys as well in P7. Now we see the updates to the graphics, which is very good and very retrospectful. We're not on lap 2, we are on lap 1. Montana leads, Spine in second, D. Daniel third, Campbell in fourth. But surely that start of the race is going to have a look, because that was a glitch, I think, on Codemaster's end rather than our end.
They might have to restart it there. I have no clue what went on there. But one thing I do know, Alphatrix has dropped at the start. He's all the way down in 17th position at the moment.
Yeah, 17th. He's ahead of Neo as well, who I think has dropped from the start as well. So obviously he needs to try and improve up the field. The graphics will, the timings will update as they come through onto lap 2, which will be this time around. But Montana has gone. Montana leads, I would say, by about 5/10 of a second as he comes across the line. We'll see the graphics. Yeah, 6.5 of a second. Spine in second. D. Daniel third. Campbell fourth. Schiaparelli fifth. Suku trying to go for a move here on Rocco. This is for 6th and 7th. The pole and the brake trying to fight as they come now through turn 3. And Suku is just about going to get this one. Rocco's might have got an illegal overtake there perhaps, but Suku's through and he's up into 6th. Great racing there.
Yeah, it was a stoic defence from Rocco until he just had to back out. I think he's got a bit of wing damage. Missing right end plate for Rocco. I did see at the start he also got ahead, got an early jump. So I think him and Gary were the one that jump to the start, but they didn't get a penalty, so it was obviously a glitch on Codemasters. And
Kooky Games nearly going for a move there on Cohen, very close to the back, as Cohen is obviously on these fresh softs. He is making eye-catching progress already through the field. Kooky Games is going to launch one though at Cohen, down into the hairpin. They've got Larkin, just ASAS, pretty much queuing up 2x2. Noah's Larkin behind. Goodness me, that was close. Larkin now on the back, a train forming up behind Gary. Gary is going to have to look behind. He's got damage as well from that start. And now Gary might have to trip it into the pits, and he does. And then that frees that train from Cohen all the way backwards, pretty much to Killer Blue, Alphatrix and the likes running behind. But now Kooky Games on the back of Cohen, trying to get the move done down and towards someone. He doesn't. Anybody else close enough? No. They remain in formation. It's pretty much single file as they come now through turns 2 and 3.
yeah, well, Gary getting that wing change as well, so Cohen was just given a free position. Now he's up into 7th from 10th off the line, qualified in 11th, so he's having a really good race so far. Montana with the DRS, of course, he's not out of the blue from Spine at the moment, so Spine has got the DRS. He probably won't try and mount attack too hard on his teammate because of their friendship, both being a part of the NSX team and being teammates as well. Toxic already winning the race for the warnings, because he's got 3 seconds in the warnings, of course.
Yep, 3-second time penalty for Toxic, so that means he is now currently winning the warnings race between Toxic and Doom. And also, actually, he's winning the position battle as well, because Doom is down in 17th, Toxic in 13th. He's had a relatively good start, I think, from the back of the grid. He's gained 6th position from the start. Schiaparelli into the pit lane on lap 3. I wonder if this is a strategy call from Schiaparelli. It is. So he's one of the first to come into the pit lane, doesn't want to be involved in that little bit of a train, I should say. It's just ASAS and Larkin go side by side coming through turns 2 and 3. I think Schiaparelli's going to be well out ahead of Rocco and Gary. Rocco and Gary only coming through the final corner there now. But on settling down, Montana leads Spine second, Daniel third, Campbell in fourth. Not sure why we're getting blue flags coming through the middle sector. Very strange.
It's F1 2020, a game full of glitches, but Alphatrix is managing to get his way back up the order after some drivers came in with damage. He's now in 13th position, maybe just peering in with a chance at points very soon. Verstappen on just Aces, he's going to go off the inside into the hairpin, got the inside line, and is he going to get the better exit than the Haas driver? I think the Haas is going to be wise to back off. 9th place for Verstappen, well worked move up the inside of the hairpin.
Yeah, good move. I think almost Verstappen used him as a bit of a breaking point, to be honest, to try and maintain that run on the inside line. He gets the move done now. Toxic is right on the back of Backy. He's not going to go for the move, though, into the wall of Champion Chicane. But Just ASAS has got a good run out on Verstappen, and now they're going to run line astern down towards turn 1. Just ASAS will try the inside line. Remember, he's a reserve coming into tonight as well. And Just ASAS trying to fight Verstappen. Verstappen hangs on, but look who's in behind. Backy, Toxic. Toxic gets a phenomenal run out of turn 3, and he's now down the inside and towards turn 3, actually. That was through turn 4. A little bit of contact between them both, but Toxic has got the move done. I have to applaud that, even though the camera work was terrible. Toxic through, and he's up into 11. Brilliant stuff.
What a from Toxic there. I don't think Backy was expecting it too much, and that's probably why he didn't fight it as hard. But now the Red Bull driver is going to be feeling the pressure from the charging Williams, and actually just gotten a 3-second time penalty, has Backy there. So yeah, Alphatrix in a good position to get by. Of course, in this DRS train, it won't be easy for the Williams driver to make up positions, but the championship leader close to the point.
Neil right on the back of Killer Blue down into the hairpin, tries to go for the dive bomb down the inside, very close, but now Neil's going to get the run. Julie on the outside line compared to Killer Blue on the inside. Alphatrix is just in front on Backy trying to attack, but Killer Blue hangs on to the position, and we see Just ASAS into the pit lane. And I think rightfully so, actually, because he was involved in that train. Rightfully so when he responds with, well, he's into the pit lane. He's going to be into the pits, and I might be last, actually, when he comes out. As Schiaparelli sets the new fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, they're all making really early pit stops. You did predict this, actually, that they would come in quite early, but I wasn't expecting this early, to be honest. So I don't know what... They might know something that I don't, because I'm not the smartest when it comes to strategy. I'm not going to try and fabricate anything. But yeah, they could be... It's definitely a 2-stop if they're going on to the mediums. They are not making 30 laps.
Definitely not making 30 laps. It will be a two-stop strategy. I think two-stop does tend to be quicker than a one-stop around here as well. So anybody committing to the one-stop might be just favouring themselves up for a little bit of a fight later on as Verstappen dives it down the inside of the hairpin on Larkin. Larkin returning back off holiday from last week. I'm not sure where he was, but he's coming back to a fight with Verstappen. And now Verstappen on the inside line, Larkin on the outside line, pretty much split them down in towards the braking zone of the Wall of Championship chicane, but Larkin is through. And he's up into 8th position. Verstappen gets a good run out though, and he's going to try once again on the back of Larkin. Toxic trying to get in close as well, and behind he's 1/8 of a second off, but he's running in clear air. But 1/5 distance, Montana leads, Spine second, Daniel still in 3rd position, and it's a good job we haven't actually mentioned the top 4, because the top 4 are pulling away from Suku as well.
The Ferrari car in a bit of a race of its own at the moment. 2.2 off Campbell, and then a further 3 seconds ahead of Cohen, who seems to be the head of this train. Verstappen still right on the back of Larkin at the moment, but he's not close enough to make a move through here. Certainly not through here. There it is, Alpha Trick into 11th position. I think Baki is beginning to struggle with the medium tyres at the moment. With the soft tyres, as the mediums are probably going to come into effect.
Verstappen again! Larkin on the inside, Verstappen on the outside. Sorry to cut in there, but goodness me, I saw that dive bomb even from Toxic's point of view there. That was so close. And now Verstappen and Larkin are pretty much going to go side by side. Montana is in from the lead of the race as well, and he gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So how costly is that going to be for Montana? We come through the final corner to start lap 8. Montana actually is the only one of the leaders who has decided to pit in. I think he might have pulled a good strategy there, to be honest, because he was ahead of Spine. Spine can consolidate the lead for now, but to be honest, Spine could try and hold Campbell back. I know the gap is 2 seconds, but he could try and make a few mistakes, but come back into Campbell and then force the pack essentially back on where Montana's came out. And Montana, relatively in clean air, has came out in 16th, but Chapelelli has undercut him.
Yeah, Chapelelli's done really good strategy. He's banged in some fastest laps as well, the German driver, so he's done really well so far this race. Hopefully he doesn't do his trademark, which is spin around in a couple of circles, but he's looking strong right now, ahead of Montana by a comfortable margin. I think with Montana being on the fresher tyres at the moment, he is going to be closing in a bit, and then Verstappen again. These two going hammer and tong against each other. I think Larkin's got the better of him on exit this time by.
Look at
Toxic.
So
yeah, Verstappen's just going to hang back.
Toxic's got a good run as well on Verstappen. I think Verstappen's going to let Toxic through here, perhaps. And yeah, Toxic is now through on Verstappen, and Verstappen can now hold up Alpha Tricks in behind. So Toxic making good inroads, but not like that. 3 second time penalty again. Count them up as we go along for Toxic, but he's now up to 6th as Spine and Suku have came into the pit lane, and Spine actually is just on the pit lane exit now. Montana is ahead, and in fact Spine, really being cost out of that, is behind Waluigi. Goodness me.
Oh, that is really interesting, actually. I have no clue what's happened to him there. He's lost so much time on Montana. Montana, like, way back.
3 second time penalty for Spine as well, as we rode on board there coming through turn 4. So Spine really struggling. I'm not sure, he might have snuddled up into the pit lane to bring that buffer gap back to Montana, possibly. I'm not sure. Doom has picked up a 3 second time penalty. Here comes Toxic though on the back of Larkin, down the inside into the hairpin. Good move by Toxic if he can pull this one off. Alfa Tauri, I should say, against Racing Point. We've seen this before for the last couple of laps, but now it's the other one. Toxic, Larkin, they're glued together, side by side. It's a drag race down towards the Wall of Championship chicane. Somebody's going to have to back off. It's Toxic, but they make contact with the bolt into the wall and the bolt out the race. And surely that's a safety car, but it's not. It's a VSC. Toxic just had the line on the at the inside line. Larkin on the natural racing line coming across. Answers on a postcard, I think, for that one.
Oh, that is really painful to see. I am so disappointed that both these guys are out of the Grand Prix. Of course, Toxic's not had the best last couple of races, being so high up in the championship. He's in the top 10 at least, and 3 races, no points for him at all. And that streak is going to continue, unfortunately, today. Larkin coming back from holidays, probably nice and refreshed, and was ready for a league race, and then this has happened to him. It's just tragic for the both of them. But there will be some words exchanged probably about what went on there. I can't really pin the blame on anyone at the moment.
To be honest, I thought it was a racing incident. I thought Toxic had a good run down the inside line. He tried to back off going through the corner. Larkin made contact with him on his front. But then, in turn, I think Toxic's caught the rear end of Larkin. Larkin's sort of came across. I think it's a racing incident, to be honest. I don't see anybody really to blame. It was unintentional. It was just racing at the end of the day.
Things happen in racing, and some people can't understand that, actually. I think Killer Blue has got a really good run on Baku right now, coming down the start-finish straight. He's going to send it to turn number one, wouldn't go for that move. So, unfortunately, he's going to stay behind for a little longer, but he is getting a run on Baku, who has stayed out for 10 laps on these tyres.
Montana's just got through on Chapelelli. Somebody cut in. Montana gets through on Chapelelli for 11th position. That is for the net lead of the race. Out on track as well. So Montana, Chapelelli's nearly lost it. Oh my God, what a recovery! Chapelelli has barely kept that out the wall. He's got left side end plate damage, I'm afraid. But my God, he could have done a Stroll or a Hartley there, but he didn't. He didn't, and he's kept it out the wall. Left side end plate damage, I think, is probably the best he could get out of that situation, if I've got to be honest. Neil's on the back of Killer Blue. Look at this, side by side. Look at the Reynolds in behind as well. Montana's diving it down the inside of Doom. Can he get the move done? Can he get both Reynolds in one go? Killer Blue slides out of the corner, and now that hit means he's dropping down positions. Neil now on the back of Baki. Montana's trying to get involved in this as well. This race has gone from 0 to 100 once again, like in Baku, and now Neil fending off the attention that Baki's got the move done. He's through and he's up into 7th position, but the leaders are in. D. Daniel, Campbell and the lights are into the pit lane. Here comes Montana on Baki. Can he get the move done down the inside? You bet he can. Oh, he moves across. Montana under the braking zone moves across. Chapelelli is retired in the pit lane. Montana moving across slightly on the braking point. I know he was trying to take the natural racing line, but little mistakes like this make a big difference. Baki somehow is still in the race though.
Well, Baki is not going to be happy with that one. These two have been locking horns this weekend, or this race, haven't they? In qualifying, of course, might have been a bit of payback, but you shouldn't really give that. So, yeah, they're going to have some strongly worded exchanges and conversations after the race is finished. But for now, they cannot afford to get in a mood about it. They just have to keep their heads down and get on with their Grand Prix. It's not over. Definitely not over. There are still 22, 23 laps remaining of this race. Here comes Montana on Neil. This is probably going to be the easiest overtake that you might see all night. Montana keeps to his line this time and is through, and he's up into P3. Good move there by Montana. He's now clear, essentially, the traffic as Neil picks up a 3-second time penalty. Sorry, I had to do that. Montana now up to 3rd. Baki into the pit lane, though, after his contact earlier on, of course, in qualifying. Baki into the pit lane from 10th, 11th position, I think. Rocco is under pressure from Kuka Games as well. Kuka Games got a phenomenal run here, the Slovenian, and now down the inside of Rocco, job done. Down the inside, goes up into P13. Nice move from Kuka Games. You actually don't see too many into the first corner, but I think he'd be pleased with that one as Rocco loses position. He's been on these tyres for 10 laps, of course. One of the two drivers to come in on lap number 2 after their initial bit of damage. I think Campbell looking to make a move on Waluigi soon. Of course, Waluigi, the only driver on the hards. He might not be so quick right now, but later on in the Grand Prix, I think he's definitely going to come into play. But for now, feeling the pressure from Campbell, he's using some of his overtake. The Mercedes driver, he's going to look to the inside at the hairpin. Will Waluigi try and fight him too hard? Doesn't seem like it. I'm getting my words jumbled up. And I think Alphatrix has gone by Verstappen for the lead. We didn't even see that. Yeah, he has. And Spine was trying to get through on Killer Blue as well. And Killer Blue, I think, had a slight disconnection there. Not sure if it was my end, but Alphatrix now leads. And now Montana down the inside of Verstappen. Beautiful move by Verstappen, by Montana, I should say, on the brakes. Gets through and he's up into P2. Verstappen now down into P3. But now, Alphatrix Montana in two totally different scenarios. Alphatrix still yet to pit. Montana in second, going for two-stop strategy. This is going to be fascinating. I think Alphatrix is going to try and fight him here. There's no point letting him through your championship rival at the end of the day. And he's definitely going to try and make the one-stop work. He can't afford to make a two-stop and match the same strategy as Montana. He's still going to lose a whole hell of a bunch of time, considering he's not even pitted yet. So definitely, I think in a couple laps time we'll see him box for the hard tyres to go to the end. Montana is going to have DRS down the longest straight on this track, of course, and not going to use some overtake yet. But I think Alfred's actually got a much better exit than him. But of course, the drag reduction system is going to come into effect for Montana. So I think he'll make it into the chicane. But yeah, he's going to back off. I think turn 1 could be an opportunity though.
Yeah, AlphaTrix 3-second time pulley, but now Montana opens up the taps. Is he going to go for the inside line? AlphaTrix cuts across to the natural racing line. Montana's through. AlphaTrix doesn't decide to fight that one. But now Spine is trying to fight through on Killer Blue as well, but doesn't get the move done either. Spine really out of all of this. He obviously pitted in with Montana on the lap as just ASOS is now through on Waluigi for 9th position. Spine is the one that's been really cost a lot. He's stuck in traffic. Neo Killer Blue just ahead of him. The gap between Montana and Spine is 5.1 seconds. That gap was 7/10 of a second before they came into the pit lane. So just let that sink in.
Well, could be a show of Montana's sheer pace in this race, but I also think it is down to Spine being caught up in the traffic, like you said before. And I think he does want to get by Killer Blue soon, because Suku has actually gained quite a lot on him in all of this as well. Both these guys going for the two soft to Daniel actually. He's going for the softer hard. He can make it to the end on those tyres, I think.
Softer hards, and he's looking for a move here on Rocco as well, as he's on the back. Going into the hairpin, not close enough. I don't think Spine is close enough either to the back of Killer Blue. Everyone running in a bit of a DRS train. Suku has gained about a second on the back of Spine. That gap was a second. Daniel now through on Rocco. Doom now through on Gary. And now Spine to the outside line on Killer Blue. Great move. Round the outside of turn 1. How do you like those apples? Spine is through and he's up into 5th. Brilliant move.
Yeah, now he's just got to get through Neo, and then he's going to have some clear to Verstappen ahead, whilst he can bring down that gap until those guys come into the pits. So I think he will be pleased about that one. Daniel did get by on Rocco, and he'll be chasing down Cookie Games shortly, but he's got a lot of clear air in front of him, Daniel, so maybe he can just save his tyres, save some ERS, and definitely, most surely, get to the end.
Montana's pulled away 1.3 seconds to AlphaTrix. I didn't think I'd be saying that in this race. Verstappen in 3rd with Neo in 4th, Spine in 5th. But nearly at the halfway stage, we filter through the hairpin. Lovely camera angle coming through the hairpin with the 4 drivers fighting out for 4th position out on track. Coming through there. Here comes Spine though on Neo, I think. This is going to be quite an easy move, and Spine just sails on by. And same with Suko, I think, on Killer Blue. He's looking to the inside line. Let's just hope we don't get a repeat of Toxic and lock in, and we don't. Suku through, and he's up into 6th. That's how you overtake going into the World Champion chicane. Kooky Games is trying to manage that as well. He's through on Waluigi. Then Cohen has just gone through on Waluigi as well. So Waluigi becoming more like a Mario Kart racer out on track, I'm afraid. I had to make that pun. I'm so sorry. He's hit all the banana skins, sadly.
Oh, he's going to need a bullet position, I think, if he wants a chance at winning this race.
Oh, yeah, we're terrible. We are absolutely terrible. Hopefully there's a few mushrooms out on track as well for him to try and pick up. But actually, taking all the jokes aside, he's actually not on a bad strategy. He could make that one stop last, as we said. I said about 20-21 laps. I think he's on that for you now, because these softs tend to last, what, 7-8 laps roughly before they physically go off the cliff. So Waluigi could make these tyres go to the end if he was to last past that 20-21 laps. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Suku's the one, well, Neo though for 5th.
In regards to Waluigi, if he can get a safety car at the right time, he'll be happy with that one. June right on the back of Daniel. I never expected this fight. Daniel and June not really in the same fight at the moment, but the Renault driver, or the reserve driver coming in for Dakar this week, is going to go to the outside line. He set the fastest lap. What a move! But he goes a little deep.
Down the inside line. Brilliant run. Doom gets it. Brilliant stuff. But now Daniel's going to have the run around the outside. Can he get the move done? No. Doom is through. Brilliant stuff by the Spaniard. He is through. He might be a reserve, but goodness me, that is the drive of a full-time driver. Doom through, and he's up to 13. Campbell now gangs up on Killer Blue, and he is now through, and he's up into 7th position. And do you know what? I think Campbell might have a good shot of the win here. He's on fresher tyres than the guys ahead. He's got one car between himself and Suku. The gap is 2.8 seconds. Campbell, I think, is beginning to get into this slowly but surely.
I definitely think that it can come into effect later on in the Grand Prix. The Scotsman really looking strong in this race at the moment. Of course, don't want to curse him. I think he might have just got a warning for going over there. And Waluigi loses position to June, so he is rapidly tumbling down the order. Of course, on 17 lap old hard, he's not going to be the quickest of drivers out on track. But he will come into the pits soon enough, and then he'll be one of the quickest guys on circuit.
We are more than halfway through then in Canada. It's proving to be like 2011 just without the rain, I think. Montana leading from Alphatrix in second, Verstappen third, Spine in fourth, Suku fifth, Neo sixth, Campbell seventh, Killer Blue in eighth, just Asas ninth, Cohen in 10th, Kuki, Joom filling out the point scoring position so far, with Waluigi 13th, Daniel in 14th, Gary 15th, Baki 16th, and Waluigi is going to be overtaken here by D. Daniel. D. Daniel is now through and he's up into 13th position, and he can last those tyres to the end of the race as well, so might be a one to watch out for a top 5 finish, I think.
Yeah, he could be a dark horse in this race, the Ferrari driver. The prancing horse, now the dark horse it seems, so he's definitely in a good position on those hard tyres. He can go to the end. Campbell moving by on Neo, so the Mercedes driver really phasing into this Grand Prix. 3.3 seconds of some clear air ahead of him is the gap, and I think just just coming to the pits and he got a 5-second time penalty for that.
And I've just realised something as well. Spine has now hit the traffic. Alphatrix and Verstappen are now in front of Spine. Suku 1.1 seconds behind. He will catch and gain hand over fist. Campbell is 3.2 seconds off. He's 4.2 seconds off the back of Spine, but Spine needs to make this move last sooner rather than later, and he's not going to go for the move down in towards the chicane. Rocco and just Asas are side by side coming out, and I think just Asas has got that position, and now Verstappen runs wide and Spine is through, and he's up into P3. One disposed of, another one up and coming, but Suku's gaining.
Suku really coming into this fight now. Same tyre life as Spine, so these two are fighting in this race with the DRS on Verstappen now, so don't think he'll be close enough to make a move in this Silton little DRS train from about 4 cars. Now it's about Spine trying to get by on Alphatrix, and he's certainly got the confidence on the tyres. I think Alphatrix had a bit of a slow run through the wall of Champion Chicane, and now Spine 4th position up the inside into turn number 1. A nice well worked move from the Alfa Romeo driver. It's a 1-2 for the Italian team.
1-2 for the Italian team. Of course, they were a former Swiss team as well, being known as Sauber back in the day. Kuka Games is through on Cohen as well. So Montana leading, Spine in second, pretty much as we were in the early part of the race before the VSC. And now Verstappen hunts down Alphatrix. Suku, though, was on the back of Verstappen as well. Now Suku is the one that has hit the traffic. How costly is that going to be for Suku in a pursuit for a possible top 3 finish? And Suku by far is having the greatest race out on track. And I think Rocco was round through turn 1, if I'm not mistaken. Let's cut to that. Yeah, Rocco was round through turn 1. Relatively fresh tyres. Not sure what happened there with him. Just saw the yellow flags on the minimap and cut him too late.
Oh dear, in the fight, 3rd position right now. Of course, both these guys still to pit. Verstappen was right on the back of Alphatrix, but Suku has caught up to the AlphaTauri driver. They've taken these medium 20 laps, and I think they're going to come into the pits. Yeah, they will.
Spine's in!
Pits too.
Spine is in, 2-stop strategy. So that might be him now going for a set of softs towards the end of the race. Kuki Games, however, gets the move done on Killer Blue, or does he? Killer Blue gets a good run out. Watch out for Cohen in behind as well. He could get a double toe running down towards turn 1. Killer Blue will try and fight this, but Kuki Games is through and he's up into 6th position. Spine, though, into the pit lane. Goes set of mediums. Alphatrix goes set of soft compound of tyre. This is going to be really intriguing. And remember, Spine was fighting out from net P2. Alphatrix has just got out ahead of Baki as well. And that is important because that is the last of the traffic really for Alphatrix. Game on in Canada.
well, Alpha Trix, I'm not too sure if he can take those tyres all the way to the end, but it is certainly a gamble. He wasn't going to get points if he went onto the hard tyres. As now Cohen on the back of Killer Blue. There's a bit of contact. I don't know if there was damage on the Williams car of Killer Blue, and I think Suku's also got by on Verstappen at the hairpin. So they're all getting a bit rough and tumble in the midfield at the moment. Doom now going to slip by into 8th position. Killer Blue beginning to fall down the order, and Montana comes into the pits.
Montana in from the lead of the race. Spine is coming down the back straight. So watch out, because he was 5 seconds behind. And Montana, remember, with that 5-second penalty into the pit lane, he's had to serve that up. And now that means potentially we're going to see Alpha Trix towards the front end of the field once again. Doom is in a good chance of winning this if he doesn't make the two-stop strategy work. There is Alpha Trix. There is Montana. Montana is going to be ahead of Alpha Trix, but Alpha Trix on a set of softs, and Spine is ahead of Montana, or is he? No! Let through by Spine. Montana is now back ahead of Spine, but Alpha Trix is 1 second off the back of Spine. If you thought Baku was good, I think we're about to get even better in Canada.
Well, I'll tell you what, De Daniel is leading this Grand Prix. Everyone else has to make a pit stop. De Daniel's just gone onto the hards. He's undercut everyone. If he can just hold them up to the end of the race, we can see a surprise win in the Ferrari driver. I don't think he can hold off Montana, Spine and Alpha Trix for too much amount of time, but he's definitely in with a chance of a podium, I think.
De Daniel is gaining on Doom as well. He's just taken 0.2 of a second coming through the middle sector split out on track. Suku is in from the lead of the race. Campbell does not decide to bid, and here comes Montana though on the back of De Daniel, disposed in the blinking of an eye. Montana is through, and he's through on De Daniel. He's through, and he's up into P5 it will be, I think. Suku is coming out the pit lane now, and he's going to be behind the likes of Montana, Alpha Trix and De Daniel and Spine as well out on track. Backy down the inside on... I don't know who that was. It was Verstappen, sorry, down the inside of Backy. Got the move done, and he's through, and he's up to P9. Goodness me.
I don't quite know what happened to Verstappen. He was right on the back of Alpha Trix once they came to the pit, and he actually stayed out a lap later, I believe. They lost 2.2 seconds to the Williams driver. Could just be a show of Alpha Trix's pace right now. He's right on the back of Daniel, and being held up by the Ferrari driver is really taking a toll on him. He can see the two Alfa Romeo drivers disappearing off into the distance, so he's going to want to be quick about this onto Daniel. As into the hairpin he goes. Is he going to dive it? You bet he will. Going to take the inside line through the hairpin. Has he got the move? Well worked by Alpha Trix there.
Beautiful. Deserves a round of applause, that move. Alpha Trix disposes of De Daniel. Thank you for the applause. Alpha Trix through, and he's up into 7th position. Now has got a little bit of clear track in front of him. Next up is Spine, and now Cohen holding up Montana, as now Montana breezes on by. Cohen surely down in towards someone, slams the door shut like he did with Backy early on in the race. Montana through, and he's up into P4. Doom possibly lasting towards the end of the race. He could go on a set of soft compound of tyre. We see Gary into the pit lane as well to put on that set of soft compound of tyre, but Alpha Trix is just within a second, I think, on the back of Spine. It's about 9/10 of a second. But now, Cohen in front of Spine. Spine has got to dispose of Cohen easily, and Montana has got to dispose of Doom likewise. And it seems Spine, certainly for now, hasn't got the pace and doesn't use up any overtake mode for now.
Absolutely, and being behind this McLaren driver is going to take a toll on him. Suku moves into 7th position. He's lost quite a lot of time to Verstappen, who's got Suku's teammate De Daniel just ahead of him. Maybe if there's some communication between the Ferrari drivers, Verstappen just a little bit here, but Verstappen really draining a DRS. This could also swing the advantage into Daniel's favour. Montana moves into 3rd position, so he's going to get ahead of Doom. Doom almost defenseless, and he actually goes into the pit lane. Nothing to fight for there, so yeah, why not pit?
Spine on the back of Husky Chocolate as well, as we now come down towards turn 1. Had to get that in. Spine down the inside line, gets the move done on Cohen, disposes of him, now puts Alpha Trix now in the way of Cohen, and Cohen now possibly trying to last to the end of the race. Do you know what? If I was Campbell and Kooky Games, I would try and risk it for a biscuit, because that, 6.5 seconds? Campbell's going to lose how much over, 10 laps towards the end of the race? They may not last. It's worth giving it a go, I think, though.
Well, I think Alpha Trix and Verstappen's at medium tyres, about 21 laps, 22 laps, if I'm not mistaken. So
beautiful.
They could be close there. Yeah, what a move.
AlphaTrix through on Cohen and Montana through on Kuki Games as well. Moves galore. I think we've covered about 50 overtakes in this race so far. Honestly, it has been that sort of level out on track, as now AlphaTrix is on the back. Oh, sorry, Verstappen is on the back of AlphaTrix. He's going to have another go. He's got 3% of EOS. He's got no percent of EOS. It doesn't matter, though, because he goes sailing on by AlphaTrix. And it's not often that you see the championship leader out on track get overtaken by Verstappen, who I think is running in the top 5 in the standings. Verstappen through, and he's up into P5 and sets the fastest lap of the race to boot. AlphaTrix struggling in Canada. Who would have thought that?
Well, I certainly was not. I wouldn't have been on my anchor, but he's really definitely struggling with this race, and eating by him is a tell of that. And I think Cohen might actually be challenging him soon, as he got the DRS. AlphaTrix now dropping almost out of the DRS range of Verstappen ahead. Spine though, still trying to get by Kuki Games, still trying to navigate the traffic that he's been struggling with all race long. I don't think he's going to be in any rush to get by. Suku moves by on Daniel. Will Spine go for the move? I don't think he would, no.
No, but that gives Verstappen now the run on the back of Spine as well. So Kuki Games could try and go for a defensive and aggressive strategy, possibly down in towards the braking zone. As Spine has not got the run, now he's got the run. He uses the overtake mode up to the overtake mode up to good effect. He's through and he's up into P3, which might turn into be a P2, because Kuki Games now trying to last to the end of the race. Campbell 4 seconds ahead of Montana. A shock victory might be on the cards. Am I thinking too wishfully there, I think?
I don't know how likely it is. Verstappen finds his way past Kuki Games. Not in a place you'd see an overtake normally, but Verstappen really has come to life in this race. We could see him on the podium by the end of it. If he can track down Spine, he's almost in that DRS range, and what looked like a certain 1-2 for Alfa Romeo has really been flipped on its head this race, and we could see a surprise podium from QVR Verstappen, who I think is going to be my candidate for driver of the day. Of course, it's not over, but I just hope he gets to the end.
It is not over until the fat lady sings, and as simple as that. In Canada, we were about to go on to lap 29. We've got 7 more laps to go. Campbell leads for Montana in second, Spine in third. The gaps are pretty much now standard, 2.8 seconds. How is that for timing really out on track between Montana and Spine, and indeed Campbell, who's leading? Suku in the background is through on Cohen, as I cut to the wrong person by mistake. Suku now through on Cohen, and he's through and he's up into 7th position. He's making up great giant strides through the field. AlphaTrix on the back of Kuki Games, not close enough though to the back. We've got 6 laps to go. Campbell 2.4 seconds. To be honest, he's not losing as much time as what I would have thought, to be honest.
Well, the real question is can he go to the end on those tyres? They are 7 old, and he's still got quite a portion of the race to go. I think it's 6 laps right now, yep. 7 laps almost, something like that. So AlphaTrix moving by on Kuki Games, not going to fight to that one. But if Kuki Games on the same strategy as Campbell, you can see how rapidly he's tumbling down the order. There's quite a big gap between the top, well, second to down about 5th position. So I actually don't think Campbell will lose too much in this race.
Doom has now got a 3-second time penalty. He's definitely now winning in the race for the most warnings between himself and Toxic. Toxic obviously being taken out with Larkin in that incident down into the wall of Champion Chicane. Lap 30 out of 35 has just begun. Campbell leads. The gap is ominous. 1.3 seconds the gap. Here comes Suku on the back of Kuki Games down towards turn 1. Not close enough. Kuki Games goes right wide. Suku could try and go around the outside. Runs onto the marble slightly. It's not going to get the move done there. I think maybe down into the chicane might be the place to overtake, I think, for Suku on the back of Kuki. But now, Montana just within DRS range, I think. 9/10 of a second the gap. And he's now leading the charge on the back of Campbell. And to be honest, Montana is keeping up a good, consistent pace. He's pulling away from Spine as well.
Yeah, he's really doing quite well in this race. But I think that Campbell is not going to have too much of a fight left in him. Tyres For him, it's probably going to be more about getting to the end of the race. Got a nice big 3-second gap once he gets overtaken back to Spine, so at least that is something from this race. Suku, though, got a really good exit on Cookie Games out of the hairpin, and before that ARS even comes, he gets by when he's stuck his nose ahead, and there it is, a full car length ahead of Cookie Games. Great move from the Ferrari driver. He's done really well in this Grand Prix as well. I keep saying it. It's the move for the win, for the lead, sorry, and Campbell wasn't going to fight that too hard.
That might be the move for the win as well. I guarantee you that. Montana now leads. He got rid of that 5-second time penalty as well, remember, earlier on with his pit stop. So now Montana is clear to the line. Campbell second. Spine in third. Verstappen, because of the nature of this track, is not making as many inroads as what we would have expected. And certainly Alphatrix. I'm not sure what really has happened to Alphatrix here tonight. It's undescribable. He has won the last 3 races on the bounce. He's now 5th and being consistently dropped by Verstappen, which I never thought I would see in a race in League of Europe this season from Alphatrix.
It really is uncharacteristic from Alphatrix here. You'd expect him to be fighting up there with Montana in this race, but with his bad qualifying, and I think Baki being in the way a little bit, of course Baki was on his lap, so no blame held there. I think that did compromise him, and then that didn't set him up for a good race. Montana, on 9-lap old soft, sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Well done to him.
Neil gets Baki as well down the straight, just coming on board with him. Neil now through, and he's up into 11th out on track. But Suku is on the back of Alphatrix, and Alphatrix now has got to worry. Are those tyres going to get to the end of the race? Because Suku has got 2 lap pressure tyres in him. It's what? 10% tyre wear. Inferior difference between Suku and Alphatrix at this stage. So Suku certainly attacking the back of Alphatrix. Verstappen is not gaining on Verstappen is not gaining on Spine, and Alphatrix is not gaining on Verstappen either. Killer Blue, 3-second time penalty down there in 15th, but Suku on the back of Alphatrix. This is for 5th and 6th down into the hairpin. We will have 3 more laps to go. Montana leading, Campbell second, Spine in third, but now Spine is looking at the back of Campbell and has got to warn him that he's there down in towards the wall of champion chicane. He's not going to be close enough for the move, but now Campbell has just got to hope those tyres last, because I think Campbell is on for a P3, if I've got to be honest. And now Spine opens up the taps, job done. Campbell's not going to fight that. Spine through, and he's up to second. And Suku's through on Alphatrix as well.
Alphatrix all the way down in 6th position now. You wouldn't expect that, but he's still done a really good job to get up the grid from 13th position. So I do commend him for that one. But he definitely has potential to be higher. I'm wondering if there's like a tiny bit of wing damage, or just like just a bit of wing damage that's actually not visual on the car, because I just don't see any reason why Alphatrix would be so slow, considering his track record of 3 race wins on the bounce in Division 1 this season. There's got to be something.
If there's anything, I think it's on the right-hand side of the car. If it's not, because I think he's struggling through the left-handed corners, which means, to me, in theory, he would have right-side end plate damage. That's how I'm thinking.
Might just be the kind of yellowish green that you get. I think it's called lime. That's what it is. Lime green damage could be hindering Alphatrix, which is actually visual.
Cohen nearly came across on Just ASOS. Just ASOS gets the move done, but my god, that was close. Cohen could have easily cost Just ASOS a position and possibly a place within the race, to be honest, there as well. But Just ASOS through, and he's up into 9th position, but Cohen definitely didn't make it easy for himself.
Well, that could have been calamitous between those two there. I'm just trying to watch to see if Alphatrix's tyres are going to be right on edge at this point in the race. If he does get blistering, so I'll be watching him.
He's got blistering, I think, on the front right tyre, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
he has.
Quite a concern.
He has, because obviously the hit would take on the right side of tyres. There's more right corners here than left, so the effect will be feeling on the right-hand side tyre, and I can just see a very thin black line running through the middle of the tyre. That is how you indicate the blistering out on track, and he's going to the final lap of the race, possibly with wearing tyres, but now Montana leads onto the final lap of the race, crosses the line. It's an Alfa Romeo 1-2, but Campbell has driven one hell of a race. He's currently in third. He's getting close down by Verstappen, but my late prediction of him getting a P3, I think, seems to be holding up for itself certainly as we go on to the final lap.
But I don't think we've actually seen this so far this season, at least for the races that I've commentated. But actually, the top three in qualifying have all maintained their position. So they started this way, now they're going to finish this way. If Campbell can hold on to the end, he's got one.
Cookie
Games!
He's out through turn 4. I'm not sure. I think D. Daniel was fighting for position. I have a feeling Cookie Games might have just gone. He might have had a puncture or something going through turn 3 or 4, and that is him now out of the race from what possibly could have been 8th position out on track. So Kuka Games now out, but Montana is coming down to record his second win, or third win I think, of the season, as now Montana comes to the final corner. Alphatrix all the way down there in 6th position. Montana through the final corner. Will a 5-second penalty be added on? I don't think it will. Montana across the line to win here in Canada. Killer Blue has retired late on, coming through the chicane in the middle, on the back straight. Spine in second. He's got plenty of penalties. Campbell ahead, Verstappen ahead as well. So they got onto the podium, and Suku defeats Verstappen as well for P3. So Suku across the line for P3, Verstappen P4, Alphatrix P5, Spine and P6. Just ASAS with a 5-second penalty unserved. Oh my goodness me, that was a photo finish between Neo and Cohen across the line. I think Neo might have snatched it, but Cohen gets 8th, just ASAS 9th, Waluigi 10th, Neo 11th, Baki 12th. There's your position for the podium, for the points. No, it's not, because Rocco's just got up into 12th. Baki 13th, Doom 14th, and Gary all alone in 15th position. 15 finishes out of a possible 20, but my goodness me, what a race in Canada once again. Similar to Baku last week. Driver of the day, Alphatrix. I mean, he was 14th on the grid, he finished 5th in the end. I would give it to somebody else though. I disagree with the game this week.
I think I'm going to stick with my pick of Verstappen being my driver of the day, but Montana. What a celebration that was.
That was fantastic. He almost got air on that stage, and Montana takes the win out on track. And I'll confirm it, I think it's his third win of the season if I'm not mistaken, because obviously he won the first round in Australia and then won the third round in Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken. So very good wins out on track there for Montana, and it's his third race win of the season. Gets fastest lap as well to prove, but look at the penalties. Rocco, I don't know how he has not managed to get a penalty. So well done to him. Montana wins though from Campbell in second. Suku in third. Verstappen in fourth. Alphatrix in fifth. Spine in sixth. D. Daniel in seventh. Cohen in eighth. Gisesas ninth. Waluigi on that one stop finishing 10th in the end. Good result from him with Neo in 11th. Rocco in 12th. Baki 13th. June 14th. Gary in 15th. And I hate to say it, Toxic, June won by an absolute mile in the warnings race. 21 seconds compared to 6 seconds of Toxic. Obviously Toxic at the race with the lock-in and that crash.
Yeah, and another DNF in the race was Schiaparelli, and he actually messaged me on Twitter. I've just checked my phone now. 26 minutes ago, he said, "You effing jinxed me."
He was having a good race until that point, though. Before he obviously, obviously he crashed out the race. But Schiaparelli was driving a really good race nonetheless, and then, yeah, that happened. Let's not discuss. Yeah. But out on track, fantastic win by Montana. Driver of the day, still Verstappen?
Yeah, still going to be Verstappen for me.
Still going to be Verstappen for you? Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go for Verstappen. He drove a very good second half of the race there on a set of soft compound of tyres. Consistently put in faster laps than Alphatrix as well, which is very rare to see from our point of view. So it was fantastic to see, I think, from that perspective. Really good race out on track. And next week, we go from Canada to Austria, I think, if I'm not mistaken. If we follow the real F1 calendar, the kind of real F1 calendar. It's Austria next week, isn't it?
believe so, yeah.
If I'm right in that, answers on a postcard. Should be fantastic. Let me have a check of the comments section then, see how you guys got excited by that race. Baki saying, what's the fastest strategy? Well, I thought we saw a good strategy from Montana and Spine. Obviously, softs, mediums, I think, possibly the way to go for two-stop strategy. And I know Baki is racing, I think, in Division 2, coming up at 8 o'clock. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Unless Baki has just totally raced in Division 1. I've just clicked on, I think, with that. Unless it's a different Baki. I'm not sure.
I think they're the same Baki.
They're the same Baki, I hope so. I really hope so.
Unless it's just two people called Baki.
There might be. There might be a conspiracy theory of who's Baki and who's not in League of Europe. But, yeah, Spine coming in and saying that those penalties hurt me. Yeah, so unfortunate. He drove a really good race, though. So did Montana. It was looking a lot for Alfa Romeo to pick up a very good 1-2 finish. Sadly, didn't happen, but a fantastic win for Montana nonetheless. And as I say, next week we do go to Austria for round 8 of the championship in League of Europe Division 1. If you want to tune in for Division 2, J. Cole and Verstappen are going to be taking you through that one, and Division 5, either Bryn Mike is going to be taking you through that one. Both going to be live in around 10 minutes' time. But on a final note from myself and Dan, please stay safe. Look after yourselves, look after your families, wherever you are in the world, wherever you are in the country, in the UK. Myself, I'm on lockdown restriction as part of the 1.8 million people in the northeast that are on lockdown currently. Do the decent thing, wear a mask, have some hand sanitizer with you when you do go out, don't meet up with friends. It's simple, it's common sense. Hopefully that will come about, and hopefully we can all stay in this together and defeat once and for all the coronavirus. But on that note, I will end off. Unless you want to say something, Dan?
Oh, I was just going to say, be vigilant, everyone. You know, as James said, use your common sense, and just remember not to underestimate the virus. It can affect anyone. And if you don't think you're going to get it, what if you get it and then you give it to your mum or your grandmother? So you do need to be careful. So please wear a mask, have hand sanitizer, and stay safe, everyone.
Yep, and don't get on a crowded bus like I did earlier on, where half the people were wearing no masks. So, yeah, avoid public transport is what I'm saying as well, however hard that might be. But we will end there. Thank you so much for watching. I've been James Head. He's been Daniel Field. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week in Austria. Goodbye.